Tonight's story is about identity, loneliness, and the danger of wanting to be someone else so badly that you forget who you are. It follows a quiet 17-year-old boy from Port Harcourt, a boy who thought he found a shortcut to becoming the person he wished to be, a boy who borrowed someone else's life, someone else's shadow, and paid for it in a way he never saw coming. So settle in and let's dive in. His name was Daniel Mokocha, the kind of boy you could walk past 10 times on the street and never noticed. Soft-spoken, always by himself, top of his class but invisible everywhere else. Daniel grew up in a house where silence was louder than words. His father worked offshore and was gone months at a time. His mother loved him, but she carried the weight of life in her eyes. Always tired, always rushing, always one bill away from collapsing. Daniel learned early that the world didn't owe you attention, so he stayed quiet, small, and unseen. Until the day he met Chisom Wanfo. Chisom was everything Daniel was not: confident, popular, funny without trying. One of those boys who walked into a room and everybody naturally shifted towards him. They weren't friends, not at first, but fate has a strange way of pushing opposites together. It began on a rainy Tuesday after school. Daniel stayed behind to dry his soaked uniform in an empty classroom. Chisom walked in, headphones around his neck, swagger in his step, and asked if he could charge his phone. That small moment turned into random conversations. Random conversations turned into shared jokes. And in weeks, Daniel found himself orbiting Chisom's world like a quiet moon circling a bright sun. Chisom talks about everything confidently: dreams, girls, plans, fears he didn't admit to anyone else. And Daniel listened. He admired him more than he realized. He didn't just want to be like Chisom, he wanted to be Chisom. It started harmlessly. Daniel started copying the way Chisom talked, the relaxed slang, the casual laughter. Then his dressing changed. He saved up for the same sneakers Chisom wore. He gelled his hair the same way. He even wrote Chisom's motivational quotes in his own notebooks. But the turning point came the day Chisom told Daniel something he shouldn't have. A secret, a big one. Chisom's family was struggling badly. His dad's business had failed. They were months behind on rent. His mother was sick. They were drowning quietly while pretending everything was fine. But Chisom kept the mask up. To the outside world, he was still the carefree, confident, untouchable golden boy. Daniel's heart broke when he heard it. He admired Chisom even more, not just for who he was, but for what he endured. But admiration can rot into something else if you're lonely enough. Daniel didn't just carry the secret, he absorbed it. He felt it as if it was his own. And that's where the story darkens. On Saturday, Daniel found himself at a small birthday gathering Chisom had dragged him to. It was a mix of classmates and strangers, a loud environment Daniel usually avoided. But tonight, Daniel wanted to be seen, and for the first time, people were paying attention. Not to Daniel, but to the version of Daniel who talked and acted like Chisom. He felt powerful, like he had stepped into someone else's skin. But then a girl named Adora asked a simple question. Daniel, how do you stay so confident despite everything going on at home? He froze. What do you mean? She shrugged. Chisom told us about your dad, the business failing, how you've been managing. Daniel's stomach dropped. He realized immediately. She thought he was Chisom. Not because they looked alike, not because of anything physical, but because Daniel had copied every detail, every mannerism, every part of the persona so perfectly that people simply assumed he was the one living Chisholm's life. His borrowed shadow had become a full identity. For a moment, he considered correcting her, but the attention felt so good. The room felt warm, alive, full of eyes finally seeing him. So he nodded and said nothing. That silence was the mistake that unraveled everything. By Monday, rumors were everywhere. Daniel is going through a lot, though. Daniel is so strong. Daniel is so brave. Look at how he still behaves like everything is okay. The school began treating Daniel like a wounded hero, and Chisom heard it. He cornered Daniel behind the laboratory building. "You told people my family's business?" Daniel stammered. "No, I didn't. I swear, Chisom, I didn't say anything." "Then how do they know?" Daniel wanted to explain. He wanted to say he never meant it to look like his struggle. He wanted to say he didn't ask for the sympathy, attention, or admiration. But he had accepted it, and that was enough. Chisom stepped back. Hurt flooded his face. "You stole my life," he whispered. "My pain, my story, my shadow." The sentence shattered Daniel. Students watched from afar. Nobody stepped in. A friendship built on uneven ground cracked in one blow. Chisom walked away, and Daniel felt his borrowed shadow slipping from his hands. Rumors shifted almost instantly. People realized what happened. They realized Daniel let them think he was the one suffering. They realized he did nothing to correct them. Admiration turned to disgust, to mockery, to whispers, to isolation, worse than before. Chisom stopped speaking to him entirely. Teachers distanced themselves. Other students looked at him like someone who had committed an unspoken crime. Daniel's world became cold, heavy, and quiet, exactly like it had always been, but now the loneliness had teeth. The final break came during morning assembly. Chisom was giving a school speech about resilience, something he was genuinely passionate about. Students were listening, engaged, and inspired, and Daniel watched, realizing something painfully simple. Chisom didn't need to pretend to be anyone else to be seen. He didn't need to borrow or steal or mimic. He just was. Meanwhile, Daniel had tried to wear someone else's shadow instead of cleaning and claiming his own. After the assembly, Daniel walked to the back of the school field and took a long breath. He sent Chisom a message, a real one, sincere, raw apology, not for being lonely, but for dragging someone else into his emptiness. Chisom replied 3 hours later, "I forgive you, but you need to find your own life, your own shadow. Stop hiding in mine." Daniel cried reading it, not because of the words, but because they were true. Daniel slowly rebuilt himself, not into Chisom, not into anyone else, just into Daniel. He started speaking more, participating in class, writing his own quotes, not copying someone else's voice. It was slow, awkward, imperfect, but it was his. And sometimes that's all a person needs to reclaim their life, their identity, their real shadow, not the one borrowed from someone else. Thank you for listening to Fabled Worlds. If this story stayed with you, tap the like button so others can find it too. And if you're new here, subscribe and join our growing circle of nighttime listeners. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and stay listening.